It happened in the kind of place where nobody expected trouble. A golden chandelier hung above, silver forks clinked against fine china, and laughter drifted across white linen tables. People were busy enjoying their evening, unaware that justice sometimes arrives in silence before it roars. At a corner table sat Claire Whitmore, a woman who carried her reputation like armor. She was the CEO of a billion-dollar company, admired by some, envied by many. Power had made her strong, but it had also made her a target. She barely touched her glass of wine before 3 men walked in. Their movements were sharp, eyes locked on her, as if the rest of the restaurant had disappeared. Marcus Johnson, a single father of 2, sat 3 tables away. His clothes were worn, his presence almost invisible among the polished suits and glittering jewelry. To most, he was just another tired man grabbing a cheap dinner he could barely afford. But Marcus was not what he seemed. The 3 men closed in on Claire's table. One grabbed her shoulder, another leaned down with a sneer, and the third blocked her way out. The restaurant froze. Gasps, stares, but no one moved. Fear had a way of chaining good people to their seats. But Marcus moved. In exactly 4 seconds, everything changed. First second, he rose, chair scraping against the polished floor. Second, his hand caught the wrist of the man closest to Claire, twisting it until a knife clattered onto the table. Third second, his elbow drove into the ribs of the second man, sending him crashing into a waiter's tray. Fourth second, he pivoted, foot hooking the leg of the third, dropping him flat on his back with a gasp. The room erupted into chaos, but Marcus stood calm, eyes steady, as if he had simply swatted away flies. The 3 attackers groaned on the ground, powerless in the shadow of his skill. Claire's breath caught in her throat. For a woman who negotiated with billionaires and commanded boardrooms, she had never felt so utterly vulnerable. And yet here was this man, a stranger, standing between her and danger without hesitation. The restaurant staff rushed to call the police, and within minutes the men were dragged out in handcuffs. Claire remained seated, shaken but unharmed, her gaze never leaving Marcus. "Who are you?" she asked softly, when the noise began to settle. Marcus hesitated. "Nobody important, just a dad who knows how to protect people." Her brow furrowed. "That wasn't nothing. The way you moved. Where did you learn that?" He gave a small smile. "Once upon a time, I wore a uniform, but life had other plans." For Marcus, it was the truth. Years ago, he had served in the military, trained to defend, trained to end fights before they began. But when his wife passed, he left that world behind to raise his children. Now, most days, he barely scraped by fixing cars and taking whatever work he could find. The evening ended quietly, but Claire was not the type to forget. A week later, Marcus found a sleek black car parked outside his small apartment building. A driver handed him an envelope. Inside was a note, written in neat, bold handwriting. "You saved my life. Now let me change yours. Come see me." Marcus almost tore it up. Pride made him wary of charity, but something urged him on, and the next morning, he stood inside Claire's towering office building, staring at her across a desk that gleamed like polished stone. "You don't owe me anything," he said firmly. "You're wrong," she replied. "Men like you, the world pretends not to see until the moment you're needed. I don't just owe you my life. I owe your children a future." And then came the twist. She slid a contract across the table. Not money, not charity, but a position, head of security for her entire company. A salary that would secure his children's education, a role that matched the skills he thought he had buried, and a respect no one could take away. For Marcus, justice wasn't just what happened in those 4 seconds in a restaurant. Justice was finally being seen, respected, and given back the dignity life had tried to steal.